I never thought this would be my life. I always considered myself a pretty average guy. My name is Mike, and I'm in my mid-30s, living in a quiet suburb with my wife, Sarah. We've been married for over 7 years, and I thought we had a solid relationship. We had our ups and downs, but who does? Lately, though, I couldn't shake this nagging feeling that something was off. It all started about 3 months ago. Sarah, who's usually warm and affectionate, began acting distant. She started working late at the office more often, which I initially brushed off as her trying to climb the corporate ladder. But then there were the little things. She'd come home smelling of a different cologne, and her phone started getting more attention than I did. I tried to overlook it, thinking I was just being paranoid. After all, it's easy to fall into that trap of suspicion, right? But then came the voice assistant. She got this new gadget, let's call it Sam. It was supposed to make our lives easier, help us manage our schedules, remind us of appointments, and so on. The first time I heard it say, "Recording started," I didn't think much of it. Sarah was excited about it, raving about how advanced it was. I was happy for her, but somewhere in my gut, alarm bells were ringing. I didn't know it then, but Sam would become a pivotal part of this story. Things continued to spiral. Sarah started spending weekends away with friends, claiming they needed her help to plan events. I tried not to come off as controlling, so I let her go, but it gnawed at me. I found myself going down the rabbit hole of suspicion. I even turned into the detective husband, checking her social media, following her on occasion. I know, not my proudest moments, but I felt I had to know the truth. The breaking point came one evening when I was home alone. Sarah had left for another one of her weekend trips. I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through the news, when I heard Sam say, "You have new recordings available." Curiosity got the better of me. I had no idea what was saved, but my heart raced as I navigated through the options. I stumbled upon a recording labeled "Sarah Friday Night." My stomach dropped. I hesitated but pressed play. What I heard shattered my world. It was Sarah's voice, laughing and flirting with someone who definitely wasn't me. The conversation was explicit, her talking about the sex they had, how special it was, and how much she enjoyed the thrill of being with someone else. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I wanted to throw up, scream, and cry all at the same time. The betrayal felt like a lead weight pressing down on my chest. My mind raced. Who was this guy? Was this the reason for her recent behavior? I felt a wave of anger wash over me, but I also felt incredibly hurt. I was living with a lie, and the woman I loved had been unfaithful. I had to confront her, but I didn't want to do it over the phone. I needed to see her face when I dropped this bombshell. I knew it would be explosive, but I couldn't wait any longer. The next day, I was a bundle of nerves. I spent hours trying to gather my thoughts, rehearsing what I would say. I wanted to stay composed, not to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. I thought about how she would react. Would she deny it? Would she try to twist things around? I had to be ready for anything. The anger bubbling inside me felt like fire, and I was determined to find the truth. All I had to do was wait for her to come home. Little did I know, this confrontation would change everything. The clock seemed to move at a snail's pace as I waited for Sarah to come home. I fidgeted on the couch, replaying the recording in my mind over and over again. I could still hear her voice, the laughter that felt like a dagger to my heart. I thought about the life we built together, the dreams we shared, and how easily it all felt like it could unravel. It made my stomach churn. Finally, the door creaked open and I heard her voice call out, "Honey, I'm home." She sounded cheerful, and that just fueled the fire inside me. I was sitting in the dimly lit living room, waiting for her to enter, my heart pounding in my chest like a war drum. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my racing thoughts as she stepped into the room, her expression shifting from joy to confusion as she noticed my tense posture. "Hey, what's wrong?" she asked, her brow furrowing. I could see the concern etched on her face, but I felt no pity. I stood up, my hands clenched into fists at my sides. "We need to talk, Sarah," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She crossed her arms defensively, her smile fading. "About what?" "About you and your new friend," I said, my voice sharp as glass. Her eyes widened in shock, and for a fleeting moment I thought I saw panic. "What do you mean?" she asked, her tone shifting to a more defensive one. I took a deep breath, knowing I had to be direct. I mean, the recorder caught you, Sarah. I heard everything. You and some guy talking about sex, about how much you enjoy it. So who is he? For a moment, silence hung in the air between us like a thick fog. Her face fell and I could see her calculating her response. Mike. Please, there must be some kind of misunderstanding. I can explain. She stammered, her voice rising with urgency. Explain. I repeated incredulously. You think I want to hear excuses? You've been cheating on me. She stepped back as if I had slapped her. I'm not cheating, you're misunderstanding the context. Her voice was frantic, but I could see the cracks in her facade, the guilt creeping in. Context. You were talking about the sex you had. What other context could there be? I shot back, my blood boiling. I was just joking. You know I love you. It was just a flirtation, a silly little thing. She pleaded, her eyes wide and desperate. A flirtation, I echoed, feeling a mix of anger and disbelief. You think that's okay? You think that's just a harmless joke? She looked flustered, her defenses crumbling. It was a mistake, a one-time thing. I didn't mean for it to happen. Not mean to happen. I scoffed. You didn't just trip and fall into someone's bed, Sarah. You chose to betray me. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears and she began to cry. I'm sorry. Mike, I really am. I didn't want to hurt you. I felt so alone with everything going on at work. I thought it would just be a harmless fun, but it turned into something else. I felt like I was caught in a tornado of emotions, anger, sadness, betrayal. I couldn't believe how she was trying to spin the narrative. You felt alone, so you decided to sleep with someone else. That's your excuse. How selfish can you be? The room was thick with tension, her crying turning into sobs as I stood there, grappling with the reality of the situation. I couldn't believe the woman I loved, the woman I trusted, could be so callous. I thought you were better than this, I said, my voice softer now, a mix of hurt and disbelief. All those times I thought we were good, that we were a team, you threw it all away for what? A thrill. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, she said, her voice breaking. But please, let's just talk about this. We can work through it. I don't want to lose you. I shook my head, feeling defeated. You don't get it. You've already lost me. This isn't something I can just brush off. Her expression morphed from desperation to anger. So that's it. You're just going to throw everything away over one mistake. It's not just one mistake, Sarah. It's the betrayal. It's the complete disregard for our relationship. As her anger flared, I realized this conversation wasn't going to get any easier, but I knew deep down that I had to stand my ground. It was time to take a step back and decide how I wanted to move forward. The confrontation felt like it stretched on forever, but in truth, it was only a few minutes. Each passing second felt heavier as Sarah's pleas became increasingly frantic. I stood firm, not allowing her tears to cloud my judgment. I was angry, hurt, and confused. I had never seen her like this before, desperate and cornered, yet defiant. Mike, please, you can't just give up on us like this. She begged, wiping her tears. We've been together too long for you to throw it all away. I made a mistake and I'm sorry. People make mistakes. Yeah, they do, but not everyone lies and then laughs about it afterward. I shot back, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and sorrow seeing her panic, but I knew deep down this wasn't who I was. I didn't want to revel in her misery. I wanted to address the devastation she had caused. Her face twisted with frustration. Are you really going to end our marriage over something that wasn't even supposed to happen? I love you, Mike. I want us to work through this. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my emotions. Love doesn't work this way, Sarah. You can't love someone while sleeping with someone else. That's not how this works. She fell silent for a moment and I could see the wheels turning in her head. I'll do anything to make this right. Just tell me what you need me to do. I paused, contemplating my next words carefully. What I need is for you to be honest. Tell me everything. Who is this guy? How long has this been going on? What else are you hiding? Her face paled and for a moment it looked like the weight of my questions was crushing her. His name is Jake. He's a colleague. We talked a lot during late nights at the office. And then it just happened, she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. I felt a surge of anger. How long? How many times? A few weeks, maybe 3. I swear it was never supposed to go this far, she stammered, her eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. 3 weeks? You think I can just forget that? I said, my voice rising. Do you have any idea how utterly devastating this is? You've shattered my trust." Her composure began to break down again and she fell silent, her head hung low. "I don't know what to say. I messed up and I can't take it back," she whispered, a tremor in her voice. "That's right, you can't." The words felt heavy in the air. "You've hurt me deeply, Sarah. I don't know how to move past this." I didn't want to think about what a life without her might look like, but the truth was we were standing on the edge of a cliff and I felt myself teetering. Was this where I wanted to be? Was this the person I wanted to spend my life with? After a long, painful silence, I finally spoke. "I need space. I need to think. I can't make any decisions in the heat of this moment." The relief that washed over her face was maddening. "Mike, please don't do this. Just give me a chance to make it right. I'll change, I swear." I shook my head, feeling the emptiness settling in. "You don't get it. This isn't about changing, it's about trust. It's broken and I don't know if it can ever be fixed." Her expression shifted from desperation to defiance. "So what now? Am I just supposed to sit here and wait for you to decide my fate?" "I don't know, Sarah, I really don't." I snapped, frustration boiling over. "But you need to realize that your actions have consequences. You can't just expect everything to go back to normal." As we stood there, engulfed in the aftermath of our confrontation, I felt a weight on my chest that was suffocating. I wished I could turn back time, back to when things were simple and uncomplicated, but that was a fantasy. The reality was that our marriage was hanging by a thread, and it was time for me to do some serious soul-searching. "I'm going to stay with my brother for a while," I finally said. "I need to figure things out. I can't do this right now." Her face fell, and for the first time I saw a flicker of fear in her eyes. "Mike, please." But I walked away, leaving her behind. I grabbed a few things, my heart heavy with uncertainty. The moment I stepped out of that house, I felt as if my entire life had shifted. I had never imagined that cheating could feel like such a deep betrayal, and I was left to navigate the emotional wreckage all on my own. As I drove to my brother's place, tears streamed down my face. I felt lost, angry, and heartbroken. Would I ever trust again? Would I ever love the same way? My mind was a whirlwind of questions and doubts, and all I could hope for was to find clarity. The chaos, the drive to my brother's place felt like the longest journey of my life. My mind raced with thoughts of Sarah and the mess our lives had become. I replayed our conversation over and over, trying to make sense of it. The laughter, the intimacy we once shared, did it all mean nothing to her? I felt a hollow ache in my chest, a sense of loss that was sharp and biting. When I finally arrived at my brother's house, I tried to put on a brave face. He could see right through me, though. "What happened, Mike?" he asked, his eyes full of concern as I stepped inside. I took a deep breath, the weight of the situation crashing down on me again. "It's Sarah, she's cheating on me." His expression shifted from concern to disbelief. "What, are you sure? How do you know?" I hesitated, not wanting to get into the details of the voice assistant and the recordings. "I overheard her on a call. She was with some guy from work. It's all true," I replied, my voice heavy with sorrow. "Damn, man." "I'm sorry," he said, pulling me into a brief hug. "Do you want to talk about it?" I shook my head, feeling emotionally drained. "I don't even know where to start. I just feel lost. I thought I knew her, you know. I thought we had a good marriage." "Sometimes people surprise you in the worst ways," he said, guiding me to the couch. "You need to take some time for yourself, figure out what you want." "I don't even know what I want anymore," I admitted, sitting down and burying my face in my hands. Part of me wants to confront her again, demand answers, but another part just wants to forget she ever existed. It's all so messed up. "Take a breath," he said, rubbing my back. "You don't have to decide anything right now. You're in shock and that's okay. What do you need? How can I help?" I thought for a moment, trying to articulate my feelings. "I just need to process this. Everything feels so overwhelming. I'm angry, but I'm also heartbroken. I want to scream, but I also just want to curl up and disappear." "Then let's do something to take your mind off it," he suggested. "How about we grab some food and watch a game? You need a distraction." I nodded, grateful for the distraction. We headed out for some takeout and I tried to focus on the moment, but Sarah was never far from my mind. The image of her laughing with another man, the way she had looked at him, it haunted me. As we ate, my brother kept the conversation light. He asked about work, about old times, and I tried to engage, but the weight of my situation loomed large in the back of my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling that everything was slipping through my fingers. That night, I crashed on his couch, too emotionally exhausted to care about anything else. My dreams were filled with images of Sarah, laughter turning to betrayal in a blink. When I woke up the next morning, I felt like I was living in a nightmare. The sun shone through the window, but I was wrapped in darkness. After a few days of staying with my brother, I decided I needed to confront Sarah again. I couldn't let things linger without knowing where we stood. I called her, my heart racing as I prepared for the conversation. "Mike, I'm so glad you called," she said, her voice sounding relieved. "I've been thinking about you. Can we talk?" I felt a mix of emotions, anger, hurt, but also a flicker of hope that maybe we could salvage something. "Yeah, we need to talk. Can we meet somewhere?" I suggested a coffee shop just a few blocks from my brother's place. The familiar setting would make it easier, and I wanted to feel somewhat safe in what was bound to be a volatile conversation. When I arrived at the cafe, I scanned the room, my heart pounding. Sarah walked in, and I couldn't help but feel a wave of mixed emotions. She looked just as beautiful as ever, but the sight of her only dredged up the pain. "Hi," she said softly, her eyes searching my face for a reaction. "Hey," I replied, trying to keep my tone neutral. I gestured for her to sit. "We need to talk about everything. No more lies, no more excuses." She nodded, her expression serious. "I understand. I've had a lot of time to think too." "Good. Let's start with the truth. How often did this happen with Jake?" I pushed, refusing to soften my approach. "Just the once," she said, her voice shaky. "I swear it was a mistake, Mike. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was feeling lost, and I thought it was just a harmless flirtation." "Harmless? You think this is harmless?" I shot back, feeling the anger bubbling up again. "You think sleeping with someone else is harmless?" She looked down, her hands trembling. "I know it sounds awful, but I felt so isolated with everything going on. I thought you didn't care anymore." "Didn't care?" I was confused. "I thought we were working through something," I said, the frustration boiling over. "I know, but I made a terrible choice, and I regret it every day. Please, Mike, give me another chance," she pleaded, tears glistening in her eyes. I took a deep breath, feeling torn. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust that this was just an isolated incident. But deep down, I knew that this was more about her choices than any neglect on my part. "You have to understand, Sarah, it's not just about forgiveness. It's about rebuilding trust. And right now, I don't know if I can ever trust you again." The weight of my words hung in the air, and I could see the realization wash over her face. This wasn't just a conversation about our marriage, it was about the foundation of everything we had built together. And it felt like it was crumbling before my eyes. The silence that followed my words felt unbearable, like an anchor dragging us both into a sea of despair. Sarah's eyes glistened with unshed tears, and for a moment I almost felt sorry for her. But then I reminded myself of the betrayal, the way she had laughed and flirted with another man. I couldn't afford to let pity sway my judgment. "Mike, I know I messed up," she said finally, her voice breaking. "But I love you. I don't want to lose you. I'll do anything to fix this." "Love isn't just a word you throw around when you're in trouble, Sarah. You need to understand that," I replied, my tone firm. "You've shattered my trust in ways I can't even begin to process. You need to show me that you're serious about making it right." She nodded, desperation etched on her face. "I will, I promise. I'll go to counseling. I'll do whatever it takes. I never wanted to hurt you. I felt trapped. I thought being with someone else would help me escape my feelings, but it only made everything worse." "Trapped?" I echoed, incredulous. "You think cheating is the solution to feeling trapped? What kind of escape plan involves betraying your partner?" "Please, don't twist my words. I can't change what I did, but I can change how I move forward. I want to fight for us," she pleaded, her hands reaching out to grasp mine. I pulled my hands back, needing that physical distance to think clearly. "I don't know if I can accept that right now. You need to understand the gravity of what you did." I know," she cried, tears streaming down her face. I can't lose you, Mike. You mean everything to me. I've never wanted anyone else but you." Her words tugged at my heart, but I struggled to reconcile them with the reality of her actions. "You say all this now, but how can I believe you? You've already shown me that your words can't be trusted." She took a deep breath, visibly trying to compose herself. I messed up and I know it's going to take time to rebuild that trust. I'm willing to do the work. I'll prove to you that I'm serious. Just give me a chance to show you, she said, her voice firming up, a hint of determination piercing through her tears. I leaned back in my chair, weighing her words against the pain I felt. The thought of giving her another chance set off alarms in my mind. What if I let her back in and she hurt me again? My heart and my head were at war and I felt utterly lost. Let's say I give you this chance, I said slowly, cautiously. What does that look like for us? What changes? What can I expect? I'll go to therapy, she said, her voice gaining strength. I'll be more transparent. I'll share my phone, my plans, everything. I won't hide anything from you again. I need to work on understanding why I made those choices. I sighed, feeling the heaviness of everything weighing down on me. And what if I can't let it go? What if I can't forgive you? Then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But please don't make a decision out of anger. Think about everything we've built together, she said, her voice soft yet firm. Her words struck a chord in me. I thought about our life together, the memories we had shared, the laughter and the love. I had never imagined that I would have to question everything we had built, but here I was, standing on the precipice of a decision that could either lead to healing or heartbreak. I don't want to lose you either, I admitted, feeling the weight of honesty. But I need time. I can't rush into a decision that could ruin both of us. I'm still so hurt, Sarah. I need to figure out what I really want. Take all the time you need, she urged, her voice soothing. I'll be here waiting. I'll do the work, I promise. I nodded, knowing we were both treading in uncharted waters. As I glanced at her, it struck me how vulnerable she looked, and a part of me wanted to reach out and comfort her. But I had to be strong. I had to protect myself, even if that meant pushing her away for now. I need to go back to my brother, I said, feeling the conversation had reached a standstill. I can't stay here right now. Okay, she said softly, her eyes filled with unshed tears. Just, please don't stay away forever. I need you to think about us. I will, I promised, though I wasn't sure what my thoughts would lead to. As I left the cafe, I felt a rush of confusion and sadness. Back at my brother's place, I sank onto the couch, trying to process everything. I knew I had a decision to make, but it felt monumental. I couldn't deny that part of me still loved Sarah. We had shared so much, but I also couldn't ignore the betrayal. I needed clarity more than ever, and the path ahead was murky at best. I knew I had to take some time to gather my thoughts, to reflect on what I wanted. The pain was still fresh, but deep down, I hoped that if I could sort through the chaos, I might find a way to either heal or move on. And in that moment, I realized that whatever the outcome, I would be okay. I had to be. The days turned into weeks, and during that time, I found myself oscillating between anger and sorrow. Each morning, I woke up with a heavy heart, the weight of my situation pressing down on me. I spoke with my brother often, who offered me support and an ear to vent my frustrations. He encouraged me to think about what I truly wanted, but the answer felt elusive. I kept in touch with Sarah, though our conversations were brief and civil. She was doing her best to respect my space while also trying to prove that she was committed to making things right. I received messages about her attending therapy, reaching out to trusted friends for support, and attempting to be more open. Part of me wanted to believe she was genuinely trying, but the other part reminded me of the betrayal that had shattered my trust. One evening, as I sat on my brother's couch, lost in thought about what to do next, I received a text from Sarah that hit me hard. I miss you. Can we meet again? I need to talk. I hesitated, my heart racing. Part of me wanted to see her, to hear her voice again, but another part screamed to protect myself. I thought about everything that had happened and how much pain I had endured. Yet the memories of our laughter and love echoed in my mind. After a moment of contemplation, I replied, "Okay. Let's meet at the same cafe." When I arrived, I could see Sarah sitting at our usual table, staring into her coffee as if it held all the answers. As I approached, I noticed the weariness etched on her face. The weight of what had happened between us was still palpable, yet there was a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "Hey," she said softly, and I could see she had been crying. "Hey," I replied, taking a seat across from her. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I know things have been rough, and I just want to clear the air." I nodded, my heart pounding. Go ahead. I've been doing a lot of reflecting, she began, her gaze steady as she looked into my eyes. Therapy has helped me understand why I made such terrible choices. It wasn't about you. It was about my own insecurities and feeling lost. I thought I could find something outside our marriage that was missing, but all I found was regret. I listened, trying to absorb her words. You need to understand that it's hard for me to process all of this. You broke my trust, Sarah. It's not something that can be fixed overnight. I know, and I don't expect it to be easy, but I'm committed to making it right, she insisted, leaning forward. I've spent so much time regretting what I did, and I want to show you that I'm serious about changing. I miss you, Mike. I need you in my life. Her vulnerability tugged at my heartstrings. I felt the urge to comfort her, yet I was still grappling with my own hurt. What does that look like? What can I expect from you? I'm willing to do whatever it takes, she said, her eyes earnest. I'll be open, I'll communicate better. I'll put in the work to regain your trust, but I need you to be honest about how you're feeling, too. I took a deep breath, considering her words. Part of me wanted to give her a chance, the other part feared being hurt again. I'm still healing, Sarah. I can't promise that I'll be ready to jump back into things. I need time to process everything. I understand, she said, her voice softer now. I just want you to know that I'm here and I'm willing to fight for us. You mean the world to me, and I'll do anything to prove that to you. As I looked into her eyes, I saw a flicker of the woman I had fallen in love with. It was buried under the pain and betrayal, but it was there. I realized I still cared. I still wanted to love her. The question was whether I could ever move past the hurt. I need to take this slow, I said finally. I don't want to rush into anything until I'm ready. But I'm willing to explore the possibility of rebuilding our relationship. A small smile broke on her face, though it was tempered by the gravity of our conversation. That's all I'm asking for, Mike. I'll be patient. I want to show you that I can be the partner you deserve. As we talked more, I felt walls begin to crack, though I knew they wouldn't come down entirely overnight. I was still afraid, still unsure, but I also felt a glimmer of hope. Over the next few months, we began to navigate our way through the labyrinth of our hearts. We attended counseling together, learned to communicate openly, and gradually began to rebuild our lives. It wasn't easy. There were days when I felt overwhelmed by memories of the betrayal. But with each small victory, I began to see a path forward, not only for us as a couple but also for myself. I learned that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing to move forward with the understanding that we are all flawed and capable of making terrible mistakes. I didn't have all the answers, and I still had a long way to go, but I realized I had the strength to face whatever came next. As I reflected on this journey, I recognized the importance of self-care and the need to prioritize my own emotional well-being. I wanted to be whole again, not just for Sarah but for myself. And maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other, stronger than before. In the end, I learned that relationships are complex, and while betrayal can shatter trust, the journey to healing is where true growth happens. I walked away from that experience carrying lessons I would never forget, and for that, I was grateful.